Hello and welcome to Nikolay's genetics lessons, and today we are going to talk about can we restore a genome of the deceased parent through the children's DNA. Right away I will tell you yes we can, and here is this company that offers these services. We are really living through the interesting time when unimaginable is possible. And before I will explain how it is possible, let me start with this Slavic word. Actually, it is written in Russian. And in Russian, this word семья means family. But if we will translate it literally, this part of the word means seven, just seven. Семь means seven. And another part, which is here, which is я, is translated to English as me or I. So basically, family in Russian means seven me. English word family comes from Latin, and in Latin, familia means slaves of the household. In Russian, we also have a word familia, but with slightly different meaning. In Russian, it basically means last name. And when we say what is your familia, we asking what is your last name. You probably wonder how this information is related to our topic of discussion today. Just in few minutes, you will find how this relates to genome restoration of the deceased parents through the children's DNA. Now I want to bring your attention to this pedigree here. And here we have father, mother, and 4 children. We assume that mother is deceased, so we cross out this symbol, and we are going to restore her genome, her whole genome, through her children. How this is going to work? I do not show any chromosomes for the father. He is alive, and we know his genome. And this knowledge is going to help us. You of course know that we have 23 pairs of chromosomes, so only one pair of chromosomes is shown here, and mother is going to give one chromosome from each pair to her children. And I don't show here all 23 chromosomes which every child get from the mother side, because we don't want to clutter this picture. We want it to be very clear. So let's just assume that this is going to be a chromosome pair number 1 out of 23 pairs of chromosomes. Also, you have to know that children are not going to get whole chromosome from this pair of chromosomes from the mother side, because chromosomes during meiosis, when gametes would be formed, and gametes of the mother are going to be egg cell, gametes of the father is going to be sperm, so when gametes would be produced, only one chromosome we can find from this pair of chromosomes. More than that, they are going to undergo recombination. So, for example, recombination may happen somewhere here. And as you see, all children got recombined chromosome number 1 from the mother side. For example, here, recombination happened at this place. Here, this child got the same chromosome number 1 from the mother side, but recombination happens somewhere in the middle. The same is true here, but this child got chromosome number 1 from the mother side, but it had 2 recombination events here and here. So as you see, this chromosome number 1 of this first child, by the way, all children are shown here from left to the right, oldest to youngest. And as you see, the oldest child got chromosome number 1 from the mother side, which is a result of the double crossing over. So we see it is have different pattern from the rest chromosomes, which are a result of the single crossing over between these 2 chromosomes in the pair number 1. Now let's take a look how we are going to restore this pair of chromosomes using DNA of the children, chromosomes of the children. So as you see, for example, we have almost whole pink chromosome here, and this child has another tip which is missing here. So just these two children is enough to restore this whole chromosome from this pair, number 1. Now let's take a look. What about red one? We have one tip, another tip, the same tip, as you see, overlaps with this child, and we have half of red chromosome. We can restore this chromosome from this child, and this child happens also to have this half of the red chromosome. So all children missing this segment of the red chromosome, which we cannot restore because there are only 4 children in this family. If we had more children, probably another child would have this segment, so we would be able to restore the whole chromosome here. So as you see, the accuracy of this method depends on the number of the children. But as you know, children should have a pair of chromosomes number 1, another chromosome, which we do not show here, they should get from their father, who is living, whose genome we can analyze. So this parent also have 2 chromosomes number 1. I'm showing them with different color. And all the children also should get this chromosome number 1 from the other parent. I'm not showing here recombination in order to save a time, but you also should understand that recombination should happen between these 2 chromosomes, and all these green chromosomes are also going to be a result of the recombination. But because father's genome is sequenced, we know his genome, we can for sure say which chromosome from each pair of chromosomes came from the father side. So we can exclude his chromosome in each pair from our genome restoration efforts. In the table below, we see the results of such restoration. Scientist from this company, she used this program herself in order to restore the genome of her grandmother. In order to do so, she used sequenced genomes of her 2 uncles and 2 aunts, which are in their own turn are daughters and sons of her grandmother. We're using again children in order to restore genome of their mother. And according to this table, she have been able to restore 94% of the genome of her grandmother. In pink color here is shown those fragments where only 1 chromosome have been restored. And in red color, when she have been able to get sequence of both homologous chromosomes. Again, and in pink, only 1 chromosome sequence is obtained. I think 94% is just amazing results. And the next question, probably you may ask, what we need to restore genome of our deceased relatives, parents, grandparents, and not in order to make clones of them, but in order, for example, to use them to find other close relatives. The more we know of the genomes of our relatives, the more exact pedigree is going to be, and we can find other relatives through such information. And now again we are going to talk about 7me. Take a look at these calculations which I made today. So how we are going to understand it? 1 here stands for the 100%. 1/2 is going to be 50%, which we are going to get genetic information from one parent, and 50% from the other parent. So 1/2 stands for the 50%. Power 1 means 1 child. Power 2 means 2 children, 3, 4, and so on. So if we have only 1 child in a family, we only can restore 50% of the genetic information of a parent, of one parent and another parent. But with 2 children, we can restore 75% of the genetic information. With 3 children, 87.5%. With 4 children, 93.75%. With 5, 96.88, with 6, 98.44, and with 7 children, 99.22%. So as you see, the more children we have, the more genetic information we can restore. If we start with one child, it is 50%, and then jump to 75% with 2 children, 25% difference here. But with 3 children, we only can get additional 12.5%, so half of this difference. Next, we are going to get half of this difference, and so on. So as you see, between children number 6 and 7, we have very small difference. And 7 children is basically allows us to restore almost 100% of the genetic information of any of the parents. So hence the question, how Russians in ancient times know that family is not 6 me or 5 me or 10 me, but 7 me? Is it was just an average, or is it based on some hidden sacred knowledge? I don't know. Maybe this is just coincidence, but think about it. If you have only one child, and if you die, you will leave on this planet only 50% of your genetic information. With 2 children, 75%, and basically, if you die and you have 7 children, you continue to live 100% in your children, in your offspring. Of course, not many of you have 7 children, but as you see, even 4 children can produce pretty good results. This is going to be good results in order to fill the gaps in our pedigree, which may help us better understand disease inheritance and find distant relatives. One more time, if you want to restore genetic information, restore genome of parent or grandparent, you can use this website in order to do so. And this is all for today. Subscribe and see you in the next video. Goodbye.